I think we're good. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is United versus Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and this is going to get bad. Um, Welcome back, everybody. We are here, of course, to preview United's match against Liverpool on Sunday at Anfield. Um, if we were predicting a loss to Newcastle, I can't imagine what we're all thinking for this one. But we're going to talk about that. I am going to put that off for as long as I possibly can, though, by tackling a bit of transfer news. It's a January window, right? It's important to talk about these things. I'm not avoiding anything at all. Don't worry about it. Jumping in the chat. Danny, already jumping in. Good morning, my friend, or good afternoon. Wow. McGuire extension didn't even negotiate a cheaper deal. Yeah, we are going to talk all about that today. Of course, we're going to dive into a little bit of transfer news, like I said, a little bit of team news, because there's some big developments today from Ruben Amorim's press conference. But first and foremost, big up, happy birthday, Johnny Evans. He does turn 37 today, so happy birthday, Johnny Evans. You've been such a good servant since you came back. It's a shambles that we're having to rely on you, but that's not a slight on you. That's just a slight on the way club have done things. But you've been upstanding. You've been one of our better players. So big up, Johnny Evans. Good to see you. But good to see you, Danny. Everybody hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let's dive into some transfer news first, and then we will preview this match because I do want your thoughts. I do want your predictions, and I do want your reactions to some of the team news and everything. So let's dive in. So we're just a few days into the transfer window, but the rumors are already rumoring. Word on the street is that MLS side Seattle Sounders have held internal discussions regarding a move for Marcus Rashford. This is coming from Ben Jacobs. We talked about MLS for Rashford. We talked about LAFC, different from LA Galaxy. LAFC, they just came around, 3 or 4 years ago. We talked about them being an option due to their location, kind of like the big city, and then the fact that LAFC still have a designated player slot to fill. So if those of you who are not familiar with MLS, they have different rules. So they have a salary cap in MLS, but then each MLS side also has designated player slots. So big name players like your Zlatans, like your Steven Gerrards and whatnot, who can come in and you can pay them a lot of money. So LAFC have that, but so do Seattle Sounders. They also have an empty DP slot. So it's interesting. It wouldn't been the city that I would imagine Rashford. I can't imagine that it's very reflective. That's like going to like Minnesota or something, but who knows? Stranger things have happened. Usman, good to see you, my friend. How are you? As always, thank you for joining us today. So what are you guys' thoughts on Seattle Sounders potentially being a destination for Marcus Rashford? Can you picture it or not? I mean, MLS, not the worst option. I think what the thing is, though, is it sounds like Rashford wants to make sure he gets a spot in the England squad, which I don't understand why he thinks that's a sure thing, maybe under the new coach or whatever. It wasn't even a sure thing under Southgate for the last couple tournaments. So it's interesting. But sticking with Rashford for a second, the Sun, I know, hear me out. It's the Sun. The Sun is also reporting that Rashford is at the center of a stunning swap deal involving Victor Osimhen. The Sun claims that Antonio Conte's interest in Rashford has opened the door for Manchester United to sign Osimhen. But again, it is in the Sun, so make of it what you will. Danny says, just get him gone, sick to death. I think it's kind of like, I'm starting to feel a little bit. I was obviously very, very young back then, but I'm starting to feel a little bit for Sir Alex when the whole Beckham media circus and everything that brought with it. I mean, we saw a little bit with Pogba too. It's always something. And so I'm starting to be like, can we just, the quickest way is just to get rid of it, right? Chris Wheeler with the Daily Mail informed us today, though, that Marcus Rashford has already rejected offers from 3 different Saudi clubs, as again, he wants to focus on maintaining a spot in the England squad. But Wheeler also claims that he's also open to staying at United anyway as well. I don't know what the road back to the first team at United looks like for Rashford, if that's even an option at this point. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through team news later on, because Amorim had some comments today as well. But is there a way back? Is, like, all things being equal, let's say he makes a public kind of apology, if you want to call it that, which we already know at this club is not always easy for players to do. But let's say he backtracks, he makes a public apology, and Is there, or is the damage done for you guys? You guys let me know what you think. Usman says, I don't think Rashford will go to MLS. He would probably play in a European team. So the question is, what European team is going to take him, and what European team is going to give him those kind of that platform to kind of work his way back into the England squad. It sounds like maybe that's something that he wants. Big up, Lionhearts. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you are doing well today. We are just going through some transfer news at the moment, starting with the Marcus Rashford stuff. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and you like what you see and you want to get involved. So let me know your thoughts on Rashford. I'm going to move on a little bit here. So because there's been some news regarding a United player potentially leaving who just joined the club this summer. Lionheart says, Rashford been sold yet? Not yet. We'll see. So regarding another United player potentially leaving who just joined us, journalist Alfredo Padilla claims that Juventus have been in contact with the agent of Joshua Zirkzee this week, and Juventus are now waiting on United to kind of let them know what the final decision was be. Gianluca Di Marzio, remember that guy? He added a little bit to this as well, claiming that Juventus' intention is a loan, but United are gonna actually push for a loan with an obligation, kind of like the Sancho situation. It's clear it's not working. It's clear that when you get hooked at 30 minutes into a match, it's clear that you just weren't doing a good job. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't see a way for Zirkzee to get into the squad. I'm not going to say he's not going to improve. You guys know, from what I've seen, as of right now, I don't think that he can cut it in this league. Maybe the spotlight's too big. Maybe it's just different level of football. He wasn't signed for Amorim. He was signed for Ten Hag. So make of that what you will. It's just we haven't seen a way that he fits into this side. We saw maybe a glimpse against Everton when he's got runners around him, but really in that system, if he's playing that role, you're relying on Zirkzee to have an excellent game in terms of his touch, his hold up, his link up play. You're relying on him to have a spot on game, and then for him to also be effective in that system, even the runners around him have to also be working well. Otherwise, it just doesn't work out, and it just doesn't work. So it's rough. I mean, we did just bring him in, and so it's harsh. It sounds harsh, but at the same time, we could have spent a little more, probably got someone a little better, someone who's actually a little bit more experienced, someone who actually is a 9, clinical, just better overall. So whether that's someone like Koulibaly, probably not. Osimhen, I don't think that's going to happen. Gyökeres, perhaps. I saw some links this week. Usman thinks Zirkzee should go. I mean, that's going to be sad if it happens 6 months into his United career. Zirkzee was so annoyed, says Usman, when he got subbed off. I've seen it that some people who were at the match, who were seated around the tunnel, the entrance, the player's entrance, kind of said that looked like he was in tears coming off, which is understandable. I know Gary Neville was feeling for him. I feel for him in terms of the booing and whatnot. I don't condone any of that. That was embarrassing from our fans. You should never boo your players like that. It's clear he's just not cutting it, and it's taken away from the rest of us. So it is what it is. We'll see what happens. It is just a couple days into the transfer window, so I can only put this off for so long. So we're gonna dive into the Liverpool match now, and let's just get it over with. What are Liverpool up to these days besides basically being the best team in the league? They are on a run of 4 wins and 1 draw in their last 5. In fact, their only loss in all competitions this year was to Nottingham Forest back in September. They've either won or drawn every other match this season. So we have that to look forward to. Right now, the only player confirmed to miss out on this one is going to be Joe Gomez. He has a hamstring issue. There are still question marks over Konate and Connor Bradley. They were kind of struggling. They've come back into training this week, says Arne Slot. So they're in contention, but they are still question marks. So pretty much full strength from Liverpool. Also, besides, I think Chiesa. I think people forget Liverpool signed Federico Chiesa because has he even played for them? He looks like he might be already out the door. Usman's predicting a 7-0 hiding on Sunday. Yikes. Yeah, I want your predictions towards the end of the video. And Lionhearts is Lionheart says red till he's dead. So tactically, and you guys know I've said this, this isn't tribalism, this is just observation. Tactically, Slot hasn't done a whole lot to change things up from the foundations that Jurgen Klopp already laid down, already spent, 9 years laying down. It's physical, it's high intensity, it's forward progression, high press. There are slight tweaks, but this is why it's been so seamless, because Liverpool are very well run in that they pick managers that suit the way they want to play, and they pick players for that. And then that's why it's so seamless when one comes in. This is the difference between a well-run club and Manchester United. The key traits of Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool sides, that progressive passing, like I said, getting numbers high up the pitch, the high press, Arne Slot has stuck with all that. I was looking at some numbers. So as recently as like November, Liverpool were like third in the league when it came to passes into the final third, and they were second for progressive passes. So again, all about moving that ball forward quickly. This is not great for us because our midfield does have a habit of being bypassed far, far too easily. What we saw from Liverpool when we played them earlier this season in a match that we all try to forget. Again, 4-2-4 off the ball from Liverpool. They like to sit that front four in between the space, in that space between our defenders and our midfield. They're basically, it's a press, but it's kind of like a passive press in that they're not actively pressing unless the triggers are rich. And so our triggers are like when the wide players are when we're trying to build out. They're cutting off the passing lanes is what they're doing. And so it really made it impossible for us to move the ball. And it doesn't help in the slow buildup. Remember, Casemiro got caught on the ball, led to a counter. It was just, this was under Ten Hag, so it's anyone's guess if we're going to handle it differently now that Amorim is in charge, because typically, instead of playing through the middle like that, we try to push the ball wide and invite the press and then play around the press. But we have to move the ball more quickly, and we have to stop passing backwards when our wingbacks get the ball and they get it high up the pitch. That front four from Liverpool, though, adds a body to that front pressure, which just, it does cause us problems. It doesn't take much to cause us problems with that. Lionheart says we still need to believe. I believe, I just don't believe in these players. I'm having a hard time like buying into what I'm seeing from the players, and that's been the X factor for me in all of this. Whether it's Newcastle, Wolves, Bournemouth, it's been like I can look at the opposition, but all I have to do is look at our players and the way we've been playing, and it's hard. Lionheart's is going for a 2-1 United. Lionheart says, chin up. We'll try, man. Like Usman, I wish I felt the same. I can only go by what I've seen, and I haven't seen much. So, but I do appreciate the positivity. I think we're going to need some of that. So I'm not saying just shut up, Lionhearts. I'm saying keep it going. Maybe you can convince me by the end of the stream. So Liverpool's shape and the way they press typically sees them win the ball. And then again, like sticking with the principles of Klopp, they move it forward very quickly. They're very quick on that transition. They want to put numbers in the area. They want to win the ball. They want to get it like high up the pitch very quickly. Again, by November, Liverpool had scored 9 goals from open play within 15 seconds of winning the ball. I haven't checked the updated numbers, but they tend to score from those transitions because they like to catch you on the ball. Salah has started making runs into the channel, which is one of those very subtle differences. And you see this a lot with Dutch managers. Ten Hag used to do this at Ajax all the time. Utilize the channels, utilize the half spaces there. And that's what Slot's kind of introduced and changed a little bit. It's no longer Salah just staying wide. Salah is making these runs, and there's going to be a lot of overlap and underlap as well. And that's helped because Salah's reached some crazy numbers this season. But Salah has also confirmed this is going to be his last season at Liverpool, so maybe he's just going all out, going hard in the paint, which, again, not great for us. So between Salah out here trying to make a name for himself and the overlapping fullbacks, whoever's playing left wing back and who's ever playing left center back, they'll need to be communicative. They'll need to not switch off. They'll need to know when to leave runner for someone and when to pick up the other runner. They need to stick with it, because if Trent Alexander-Arnold starts and Salah both start, you're going to have to be prepared for some of that overlap. You're going to get numbers. Gravenberch has also improved this season. Jobazlai is also coming back from a ban. McAllister, very, very good. Diaz, Luis Diaz, they're all threats. And so it's going to be difficult. It's hard to pinpoint one or two danger men because everybody is really good in that side. So what do we do here? So Amorim, what has Amorim had to say? Hold on. Lionheart says, "You're the only one who's not telling me to shut up. When I told my brother, he not so politely told me to go chase myself. I'll never tell anybody on here to shut up. I don't believe in that. I'm not saying that you're wrong. It's not a question of right or wrong. I appreciate everyone's opinions, and like I said, I want the positivity because I'm finding I'm finding it very difficult to find something to be positive about. But like I said, keep the positivity. We want to bring some balance into this right now. So I'll never tell you to shut up, Lionhearts. You know, you're one of my boys, or girls. Who knows? So Amram has had more time to train this week, which has been kind of a breath of fresh air for us. We haven't had a lot of time since he came in and took over. He came in amidst a very busy fixture schedule, but he's now had a couple days. And he was asked, how he and the squad have been making use of that opportunity to train. And he said, "We have more time, 2 days in a row. I think that it can help us given the environment." He says, "Of course, it's difficult because we're losing too many matches and we're going to face the best team this season. But like I said, we are training. We feel more of the team, we prepare more, and we want to improve the performance compared to the last game." Well, that's a given. It's hard to do much worse. He was asked, "What have they been working on?" He said, "Everything." The small things, the transitions. I think you can see the lack of possession in the last game in the first half, the lack of control. Everybody was so anxious, so nervous. The crosses are really important, set pieces. It's hard to say one thing. We work on a lot of things. But I think the possession, the way we control the tempo, the understanding of where you should play is the main focus this week. I mean, it's hard to do worse than we have. The basic, simplest things are killing us right now, whether it's the simple goals that we're conceding or the simple errors that we're making. It's the little simple things that are killing us. A couple other big talking points from the presser is something Danny brought up first thing. So one big talking point was Ruben Amorim basically confirming that United are planning to trigger the 1-year extension on Harry Maguire's contract. So he said, "We will trigger our option. We need Harry a lot. He needs to improve as a leader because we are starving for leaders on the pitch." How many times have we been saying that? We have no leaders. Um, it's just not good enough. Um, and he said more about leadership. He said, "If you want to be a top team, you have to have leaders. We have that in the dressing room, but they have to step up. We need the guys that are more experienced to help the younger players." Literally what we've been saying now for weeks is that we have players in this squad who, on paper, even personality wise, they are leaders. They should be leaders. They're senior figures in that dressing room. And for some reason, they're just not taking up that responsibility. They're not rising to that challenge to be that on and off the pitch. And that's killing us. It's crippling the mentality. It's become just toxic the way it's spread. And Amram has said the same thing. Now, the issue I do have with the Maguire thing is if it's just the extension, that means he's still on the same wages, which is like what, roughly 200K a week. And I think Danny said the same thing. Like that, I would have preferred to maybe see just a new contract of like 2 years, maybe cut that down to like, I don't know, 125 or something. I don't know, but it's harsh. And I have no problem with, like I said, I've said many times on this channel, between Lindelof, Evans, and Maguire all possibly leaving for free in the summer, Maguire would have been the one I would have kept. I do still think, though, that we're going to need a center back in the summer because we might lose Evans, we might lose Lindelof, even if Maguire stays, even if Kakanki starts to get in and around the first team picture now and then. We still need another center back. It's just the way it is. And Lionheart says, I agree, we do need him. I think that Maguire has shown that in terms of the term professional, he's it. He is very professional. I get that, but it's just the wages. I don't like having 200K a week on a squad player who's, going to be 32 going into next season. To me, that's just not smart. But I'm not the one making those decisions. So Danny says he better be fifth choice. Should have been gone. He coulda, woulda, shoulda. It's just, honestly, we could have let all three go and maybe just, again, Danny, like you and I have been talking about, go get Bashali, go get Yarrick for free, 2 center backs for free in the summer. And we could have maybe not felt that sting. And with Kakanki kind of filled it in, that would have been almost perfect. But again, I can say all that. Doesn't mean it's that easy, but it is what it is. So another thing that Amorim confirmed, and you guys can start celebrating now, is that the club is close to finalizing a new contract for Ahmad. So we've all been asking for that for a little while. And Danny says, Yarrick thinks signing or sign a new deal. Oh, did he sign a new one? Oh, man. That's too bad. That would have been a nice one. But yes, new contract for Ahmad downloading as we speak. So that's good news. I think Ahmad has shown that he deserves a new contract. I think Ahmad has shown that we should have stuck with him for a little bit earlier. It's a bummer that he was injured in last season, beginning of last season. I know a lot of people are freaking out on Ten Hag last year for not playing, and people seem to forget that he was injured for pretty much the first half of last year. But it is good news. Hopefully we can get that locked up, not worry about it. Get him the number 7 shirt in the summer for all I care, or the number 10 shirt, however you guys want to land on that one. But one player who looks likely to miss out for this weekend's match is Marcus Rashford. Amorim reported that he was ill this week and hasn't trained, despite reports that United were impressed with him in training, and I think there were some social media posts from some other individuals that showed Rashford in training. Or, well, make of that what you will, but I'm not buying this whole he was ill nonsense. I'm not buying that at all. So, but it does look like he's not going to be joining up with the squad this weekend. So, again, we've probably seen the last of Marcus Rashford on the pitch at Old Trafford, which didn't have to go this way. It's a shame that it has, but this is just the way it is. So, another takeaway from the presser, which I was kind of excited about, I'm cautiously excited, not banking everything on it, but I'm excited, is Amorim's declaration that United will try to do business in January. He said, when the window is open, we can try to do something, and we will try to do something. But I think in the next weeks, we're going to have more time to train and we can improve. That's the only way. So he's saying basically we are going to try to do something. We can hopefully, but right now we have to start by just making do with what we have and improving, getting more training, and that's going to be a good start. And I agree, it's not enough just to sign players. We have to, it is going to help, and quite frankly, it is needed at the moment, especially. But we need to make sure we're signing the right players as well. How we haven't locked up the Nipan situation is beyond me at this point. He wasn't, he was pushed on which positions that he'd like to have additional signings in, and he said, "I will keep that to myself, but we will try to do something." So it's clear, maybe he's just being a little coy or whatever, but he's trying to, it sounds like we have some ideas. Sounds like we do have some things going on behind the scenes. I think if I had to make a guess right now, what I would guess is that Ineos are just keeping things a little closer to the chest than we have seen in the past. Some of the stuff that came up in the summer kind of happened last minute. Some of the stuff got drawn out for far too long, in my opinion, but it seems like we do have some things we're working on. Danny says, if we don't get Nipan, I'm finished with Ineos. Nipan is like the freest of the freest hits when it comes to signings. I just don't understand why we wouldn't make that happen. But again, as far as we have to remember the player side of things too. Nipan, he is a United fan. He does want to join United, but he is looking around at other clubs. Remember, he's doing that tour this month of some other clubs around Europe in the Premier League. So he's probably wanting to do his due diligence. I think that if it's a player that we wanted, though, two things. We should, like you're saying, Danny, we just get it done. And B, we should have got it locked up in the summer and had it ready to go in January. Sign him then, loan him 6 months. He's already here. It's just, those are the kind of deals that we need to start looking at more as a club and not just wait until the transfer window opens, start talking to players and agents, and then wait till the day before the transfer window closes to finalize these deals. You can't do that. I get that Ineos don't want to rush into making poor decisions, but there's some decisions that you have to make quickly to help the manager, to help the club, to turn around results. Like, we went on and on in the summer about getting Ugarte and whatnot in early because we knew that we were going to need bodies in August when the leagues. This is why I hate that the transfer window is open when the league starts. Just hard cutoff. June, July, boom, cutoff. You get a couple weeks to train with the club. The league starts a couple weeks into August. Like, it can't be simpler than that. Strengthen the squad early in the window. You got to give the managers more time to work with these players, get these players signed in time to feature for key matches. We could have had Nipan in training already for 3 days had we just done that deal in the summer. It's very, very frustrating. I don't get why we aren't a little bit more savvy and a little bit more proactive in that regard. I'm trying to tell myself, okay, Ineos have only been here a little bit, one summer window. There's a lot going on. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm trying not to take what we've seen from the Glazers and Woodward and co. over the years and apply it to them, because I'm trying to remind myself it's a completely different structure. But I have to be shown things that are different in order for me to start believing. It's kind of like what I said about the players, Lionhearts. I have to be shown things by the players to start making me believe that things are going to turn around. Because right now, I can't. I can only go on by what I see. I can't just suddenly believe these players are going to show up and be 100% different, like they have been. Lionheart says, let him meet Ollie. All Norwegians love Ollie. All Manx love Ollie. All right. All United fans love Ollie. Period. Guy is a legend. He's one of my favorite players that we've had. Just because he was such a freaking clinical finisher. We haven't had clinical finishes like that very much in this club since like Van Nistelrooy, Ronaldo, Rooney. Ollie was just different gravy when it came to finishing. That was all he lived for. So that was the presser. Let me know your thoughts. Harry Maguire, Rashford, January signings. How soon can we see some business happen? I would have loved to have seen something in before the weekend, but not going to happen. And it's probably going to take some time. Amorim seems to be very, very big on training and whatnot. And so kind of like Ten Hag, if a player doesn't have as much time on the training pitch, they might not be as involved. So as far as United go, we've got 5 losses in our last 6 league matches, including home losses to Forest, Bournemouth, and Newcastle. Again, this is why I don't have confidence right now. I've skipped all the way to the acceptance stage of grief. I've skipped past bargaining. I've skipped past depression. We were camping out on anger for a while because I was frustrated, but I skipped straight to acceptance. We did manage a 0-0 last year in this same fixture, but Liverpool had more than 30 shots in that match. And again, you guys remember I was going on and on about where those shots came from and whatnot, because the stats will only show you one thing. I think somebody on here the other day was talking about, can stats be misleading? Yes, they can. And the media makes sure that they are, because the media will go on and on and on about how many shots we conceded, but they don't ever want to talk about where those shots came from, the XG on those shots. I don't care if we necessarily concede 30 shots. If those shots are all from like 10 yards outside of the box and only 4 of them were on target, then fine, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. Lionheart says, Maguire is good news. It might not seem like it, but it is. I'm glad that he's staying, in terms of we can't afford to lose that many defenders. We can't afford to prioritize that position when we have other priorities. And of the 3, he'd be the one that I'd keep. I am not, however, happy that he's still on the same wages necessarily, because that's a lot for like your 5th choice defender. So in that match last year, fair play to Ten Hag for setting us up to defend resolutely, but we have to do better than just try to weather the storm. We have to do better than just sitting in a back 5 with not getting bodies forward. It's a big ask right now, considering where we are, considering where Liverpool are. Similar to Newcastle, though, we need to match Liverpool in their midfield. That 4-2-4, that pack, those bodies are going to be rough, but we match that by avoiding it with the ball, and we match that by being physical off the ball. I would say right now, I want Amorim to go with like a 3-1-4-2 or a 3-5-2, but honestly, that's a moot point because he's unlikely to deviate from the 3-4-2-1. However we set up, though, again, we need to apply the pressure. We need to get legs. We need to get physicality and energy in the midfield, just like, again, if you remember the Spurs match. So Spurs did that exact thing. They forced a few turnovers in that match. They put pressure on guys like McAllister and whatnot, which allowed Spurs to get chances, enabled them to score 3 goals. If you could get 3 goals against this Liverpool side, really that's what you have to do basically to try to get a result, because they can very easily come from behind and at least get a draw. You have to score. Put pressure on them. Keep an eye on Robertson and Alexander-Arnold. They were Liverpool's biggest threats against Spurs because they overlap numbers in putting crosses into the box. Liverpool were dangerous from those crosses in that match, something that cost us against Newcastle. Basically carbon copy, a little cross from just outside of the right-hand side of our box to a single attacker, like boom, boom, boom. But again, this is where it becomes about pressure. We have to put pressure on the person with the ball. We have to put pressure on whoever's in the box. Liverpool's cross completion is actually the best that it's been in the last like half a dozen seasons. So we have to not make it easy on them. Keep an eye on the numbers. We'll probably have to weather the storm a little bit by sitting back in a little back 5 like we started against Spurs. especially because Liverpool, because they get those fullbacks forward, they do get a lot of 2v1s against our defenders. We have to be wary of that. This can be an area for us to exploit, though, I think. Again, if we are able to win the ball, if we are able to weather the storm, if Onana can come off his line and grab a couple of those crosses, if we can clear a couple of those and get on the end of the second ball instead of just letting it drop to the edge of the box, if we can do that, move the ball wide or move it forward immediately, we can exploit the fact that Liverpool are throwing a lot of numbers forward. Because we know Alexander-Arnold's not going to get back. And we know that if Robertson does get back, he's probably going to concede a foul. They can be caught high up the pitch. So we need to exploit that. We need to move the ball quicker, put it wide, and get it forward. We need to stop getting the ball wide, getting it up to your midfield, and then passing it back. Just keep going. The rest of the team will follow you, but we also need to make sure we don't put too many bodies forward. Get it wide, get it forward. It's not that difficult. Let me get caught up in the chat here. Lionhearts. We need a sitting midfielder, maybe 2 goal scorers. If it's defenders to get a bit of protection, I'm actually happy with them. And that's why I say like a 3-5-2, a 3-1-4-2, set someone sitting in front of the midfield and kind of make it, or the defense, and make it kind of like a 4, maybe just stick Ugarte in there and tell them just to clean up. But use the wingbacks more as attackers than defenders, in my opinion, and put bodies in that midfield. And we have VTech, yeah, maybe. Usman's got to take off. It's good to see you, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for stopping by, my friend. So that's what I think we need to do. Make sure we get some energy in midfield. Don't let them just do it. But we have to avoid trying to move the ball through midfield and win it, because that's where they're going to win the ball back, and that's where they're going to launch their transitions. They want to press that space between the defense and midfield, fine. Move it wide, and then move it forward. But you have to move it quicker. We move the ball way, way, way too slowly, and we keep stopping and passing it back. Get the ball forward. It's not that difficult. Bruno and Ugarte are going to be back for this one. I hope we don't see Bruno in the pivot, because I don't think that works personally. Play him in the 10, but let him get a little bit of freedom if we need to. I just don't want him in the pivot, because with the pressure that Liverpool are going to put, he's not strong enough on the ball, and I don't want him picking up stupid fouls. Ugarte was sorely missed against Newcastle. We are going to need him in midfield. We need his legs for that battle. But if you're betting right now, it might be worth putting a $5 on him to pick up a yellow, because the dude's going to pick up a yellow for sure. Danny says 100 Bruno back in my fantasy team. Yeah, Bruno's gonna. We'll see what happens. But yeah, we'll see. It might be worth putting it in there and probably get a pen. Manu was a game changer when he came on for Xerxes against Newcastle. It was too late at that point, unfortunately. The game was already pretty much lost. I mean, when you concede a cheap goal like that in the first 3 minutes and then another one 15, 20 minutes later, game's done. But Manu did have a really good match. He did change it. It was just too late. But I would still start him. Lionheart says he'll be rested. 2-1. Lionheart's still going 2-1. So here's how I'm lining up. You guys get your 11 here. This is what I'm going with against Liverpool right now. Again, Højlund probably. Other than being the only striker we have, he's the best striker. And I think that if we can get the ball to him, if we can get more numbers up there, and that's kind of why I have Garnacho, because Garnacho, for all the slack I've given in the last couple matches for giving the ball away, I think that the space that Liverpool are going to leave in behind when they do get the ball, I think that's where we're going to need someone like Garnacho. I would have maybe even said that's where we're going to need someone like Rashford, but Rashford's not going to be here. Dalot is pretty much just the only left wing back we have that I think is adequate in this match. I don't think Malacia is going to do it. And I would have put Anthony, but it looks like if the rumors are believed, we're trying to maybe move Anthony on for a little bit. Obviously, I've got Manu and Ugarte as my pivot. I do think that's going to be the pivot for the future as Manu continues to develop. I do think we need another midfielder that's a little more experienced, but this is what we have. Obviously, Ahmad I put back on the right wing back because that's, in my opinion, his best position. I think that I would like to see both him and Dalot get forward a lot more than they have been, though, because they keep stopping. The problem with Dalot too is he's been getting forward, but his final ball is just not great. So if he can get forward, if he can lay off the ball to Garnacho, find Bruno, find Garnacho, find Højlund, not with crosses necessarily, but with balls played around the ground, balls whipped around the fence, it could work. Dalot has a left foot. It's not like he doesn't. He's not Anthony. He just doesn't do it enough, and I think it's all mental for him. The defense, yeah, I got Licha, Delit, and Mazraoui. I toyed around with Euro, but I think that at the end of the day, the only thing I don't like about Mazraoui in the defense, well, two things. Right now he looks knackered, but we've had a little bit more time. The only thing I want to see Mazraoui stop doing is trying to dribble across his own box. You're not going to be able to do that. Like, release the ball quicker, move it. If you get the ball, find Ahmad, find Dalot, find whoever, and go. Find Kabi. Kabi's good on the turn in those tight areas. Find him, get it going. It's not that hard. Leinart says Dalot is the only spanner. Dalot's the only spanner. We just don't have a choice. Like you're saying, I don't think we have a choice, unfortunately. Danny says nearly play Malacia. I worry about Malacia against Salah though, because Malacia is back now. It's been a month since that first game where he was getting dusted. Maybe. So I could go either way. We haven't seen Malacia in a little while, so maybe, but I just don't know, man. Part of me kind of feels like it would be Malacia and maybe Dalot on the right, and he's going to play Ahmad in the 10 again alongside Bruno. I feel like part of me thinks he's going to go for that, but we'll see. Lionheart says that looks like a 2-1 lineup to me. Dalot will cost us the 1 goal. I want Dalot to focus on Salah. I want him, and maybe this is. Maybe if we could go get Wan-Bissaka to come back and just play one match and mark Salah, I would take that too. But Sanjay, good to see you again, my friend. Welcome back to the channel. Good evening. Danny says 1-2 touch football, no hesitation. We need to match him with intensity to start. Yeah, we need to weather the storm. And then we just need to stay switched on. The numbers are going to hurt us. The numbers that they're going to push forward are really where we're going to need Dalot to stop being Dalot and just stay switched on. We need Licha to stop being a little overzealous and just focus on defending and not focus on running 30 yards up the pitch, if that makes sense. It's going to be rough. But, I could easily see Malacia coming in. We haven't seen him in a little while. Some part of me thinks maybe he's just not quite match fit. I started Garnacho. We'll see how that goes, but you guys let me know what you think, who you'd start, who you'd go with, and let me know your predictions, because we can talk all we want about where we can exploit Liverpool or what our best 11 would be, but at the end of the day, I just don't see any way we win this one. And I do think we're going to be holding a few. I've seen people online say we just need to avoid the embarrassment, forfeit, and take the default 3-0 from the forfeit. I don't know if I'd go that far, but realistically, I think the best we could hope for is keeping this respectable, trying to keep it to letting them score 2 goals. I don't know. I have to say, I think I agree with Danny. I do feel like this has got a 3-1 written all over it. I think that we could get one, and maybe Bruno will take a pen or something for us, but I don't know. We'll see if Konate's fit. I know Gomez isn't fit. We're going to see. I think that the right back slot, it sounds like Trent is going to feature, so there's some opportunity there. That's why I want a little bit more legs, but we also have to worry about Salah too. So it's difficult. They just have too many good players, and we're just crap right now. I'm just not expecting a whole lot from our players. I'm happy we've got a few more days this week to train. We haven't had that since Amorim's taken over, but I still don't think it's going to be enough. We haven't scored at Anfield since December of 2018, which was 6 years ago. And so you guys call that like you see it, but get your score predictions. I'm going 3-1 Liverpool, unfortunately. I know Lionheart is pushing the 2-1 United. I think Danny, I saw you had in there. Yeah, 3-1 to the Bin Dippers as well. I just don't see it going any other way. If we could avoid that 7-0, that'd be great. But it seems like this league right now is Liverpool's to lose. Right now, we're just trying to put some safe distance between us and the drop zone. So if we can do that, get some breathing room in between these matches to train a little bit. And if we could just get some momentum before I get there in 2 weeks from now, so we can actually get a result against Southampton and Brighton, that would be great. I'd love to, kick this curse to the curb. Lionheart says, you never know. Amorim's master plan might be making Slot think that Rashi isn't playing. then turn up with him in the wingback position. If we put Rashford in the wingback position, we're going to be holding a lot more because Rashford. Do you not remember that match against Luton Town last season? Rashford basically just laid down a red carpet for Ross Barkley just to just walk the ball in there. Danny says, just want to see a signing made by next Monday. I think that we have some things in the works. I think that what's going to happen is we're probably not going to get a great result. They're going to announce the Ahmad contract probably like the next day to kind of soften the blow of the result. And then we've got another match. We have another match that week. I feel like we have another midweek match. If I do believe, let me see. So we've got, nope, we're good all the way until another week. So we've got a lot of time in between. There's a lot of time in there to get some work done. Hopefully we can get something happening. Turn up with I do. Lionhearts, I love your positivity, man. Don't change. Don't shut up. Don't do anything like that, man. Just keep bringing it. Keep sharing the positivity. It could get contagious, but let me I just want to check online real quick before I let you guys go to see if there's any updates or anything. Doesn't look like it in terms of any more news, so nothing there. Danny says Spinios are the same as the Glazers. I mean, it's part of being in this business. It's part of being any business, really. You do have to worry about the PR side of things, and there is a way to do that. And you see it at most other clubs as well. And the United, it's obviously it's worse. I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying it's not anything that we weren't expecting, or that's, to me, anything that's shocking. I just said what I thought was going to happen. So clearly I wouldn't be surprised. It's part of it. It's just what you do. We've seen it for years. So hopefully, I'm concerned less about the PR when it comes to Ineos, more about just getting things done. I care a lot less about this and more about this. Just get the contract signed, get these deals over the line, get the players out the door. Let's start this rebuild. There's no excuse to not do it right now. If you've got players who are all profit, who clearly aren't in this picture, who don't fit the system, get them out the door and bring some players in, replace them. Like, there are deals out there to be done. Your Nipans, your Mastantuonos, your Cherkis, your Danny Olmos, if anybody is still on Danny Olmo watch. Like, there are deals to be done that improve us right now. Go get Bashali on a cheap deal now. Get rid of, Lindelof and Christian Eriksen. There are deals. So hopefully we can get them done. I'm just not confident that, we're going to get a result. So let me know what you guys are predicting for the match. I am unfortunately predicting a loss. I know I'm not the only one. Lionhearts is holding the 2-1. Lionhearts, if we win 2-1, man, you can come back and you can gloat and celebrate. We'll do everything, man. We'll do it big for you, and we'll all give you a big thank you. But until then, that is it for me. If there's any big transfer news or anything, I'll probably come up tomorrow. I took a day off yesterday. I'm still just recovering, if you can't tell by the voice. And I had a meeting with my group we have a group project in this PFA class, so we had that yesterday too, and that was like a 2.5-hour meeting. So I will be back maybe tomorrow if there's enough transfer news to go over, but probably not until maybe Sunday evening. So Lionheart says, would Olmo be a panic buy? It's difficult. I think we need a player in that position, and if he's fit, Olmo is good. It's just it's more of a reaction. I wouldn't call it a panic. I'd say it was a reaction, but to what we need in the system. If Ten Hag were still here, I would say yes. But because we now have a system that uses more tens and doesn't really use wingers like Rashford, Garnacho, and whatnot, and we don't have very many fit tens, I would say it's something different. 2-year deal, Danny says, would work. Einhard says United, that is. We'll see. As of right now, he's a free agent, but his agent has also said he wants to figure it out with Barca, and he's not interested in going anywhere else. So I don't understand why he would not want to go play football. I think that's only going to hurt him. So we'll see. But the opportunity's there. I think we need him more than teams like Arsenal or Liverpool or whoever need him. I think that Danny Olmo is the profile, the position, the caliber of what we need right now. The injuries worry me. So until then, enjoy your day. Like I said, I might be back tomorrow. We'll see. Just depends on how much transfer news is going on, if there's enough to talk about. I've started considering, because there tends to be a lot of transfer news, and because it's January, right? And because as I'm doing some of these other videos, like the one I did with Dylan the other day on our New Year's resolutions, a lot of time is spent talking about transfer news. So I'm toying around with the idea of doing a separate stream just for the transfers on the day if I have those things, and then maybe doing the big video later on. So let me know if that's something that might make a little more sense, or if you guys just like doing it all at once. It's all about timing for me and how much time I have during the day. So in any case, thank you guys for stopping by. Appreciate that. Hope everyone's enjoying their week. Lionhearts, Lionhearts, we love you. We love you, sir. So until then, on that note, glory, Man United. Keep the red flag flying high, and I will praying for a 2-1, but I'm struggling. But we'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.